can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What's up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about Rogue and Gambit #1 by Stephanie Phillips and Carlos Gomez. The whole purpose of this video is going to be breaking down the reason that Rogue and Gambit have potentially kicked off an international incident with the Black Panther and the nation of Wakanda, as well as how Rogue and Gambit have possibly handed over one of Krakoa's most powerful mutants to an anti-mutant hate group. I know, it seems like a lot going on, but I can break it down, I think, pretty quickly. Some of you may be confused as to why I'm bringing up Black Panther and Wakanda. I believe it was episode 190 of the Blerd Cave. If you go back and check out that video, which there's a link to it up here somewhere, or have it linked at the end of the video, but during our conversations about the, at the time, then upcoming Rogue and Gambit series, one of the covers we saw depicted Rogue dropping the Macho Man Randy Savage elbow on Black Panther's forehead, and it got us talking about what were the reasons behind why all this was happening. But what we did know is that Eden Fezzi, aka Manifold, was somehow intricately tied to this premonition that Destiny had about the future of Krakoa. That's really all we had to go with, but now we know a little bit more, and even that still really isn't enough. We as readers know about roughly as much as Rogue and Gambit do about what's going on here, because Destiny is not giving up any details, and I don't think she's doing it out of any sort of malice. We've actually had instances in the past where Destiny would not reveal the truest inner workings of any premonitions or visions that she saw, because telling someone the future can alter the future. Even if she were to tell them everything that they needed to know, it would only make things potentially worse. So while I know some people would probably be irritated by this particular part of Destiny in the story, it's honestly just kind of the way it is. What I think is very safe to say that everything that is going on with the disappearing supervillains like Lady Deathstrike, as we saw at the beginning of this issue, as well as the mentions of characters like Electro or the Absorbing Man Crusher Creel or the Mutant Vanisher, or even Legion of X's Juggernaut, all of these characters have, for one reason or another, just mysteriously disappeared. Manifold is already investigating these disappearances, and if you're wondering why any of this would even make sense, part of the reason is because one of the people who have been kidnapped is the Mutant Vanisher, who is a member of SWORD alongside Manifold. They are on the same teleport team for that group. So of course Manifold will be looking into it, if for no other reason than that. And of course we know Juggernaut, being a member of the Legion of X, not saying he's the highest priority for them to find, and honestly he would be the biggest set of car keys that you could ever misplace, but I feel like it's also interesting to note that he was around and alive and well and operating on Krakoa just as recent as Legion of X number 10, so the fact that he disappeared is actually really telling. At the end of the day, a mutant hate group is somehow organizing a buyer of these random and sundry characters, each of which seem to have been outfitted with a form of microchip that allows control of that person, kind of similar to what we saw in Benjamin Percy's Wolverine series. When the mutant Maverick was put on the auction house, he was being sold to the highest bidder, and whoever bought him would have access to a mutant, even though technically at the time Maverick was still a depowered mutant, but they would still have a top flight assassin at their disposal. I can't help but wonder if the people behind this may or may not be the same people behind the auction house. That's the only thing that really makes a whole heap of a lot of sense to me, because we never really get any direct indication as to who the person is, and I don't think it's Orcus, and I don't think it's Zeno either. We do know that Ruben Brousseau, who has been a thorn in the side of both Captain Britain and Excalibur over the last 2.5 years or so, that character has reared up his ugly forehead into this. Now, he's not the mastermind behind any of this. He's just someone trying to purchase control of Lady Deathstrike. And because Manifold is investigating all this and Rogue and Gambit are coming along for the ride, it's here where we quickly learn that the people who are abducting these various and sundry supervillains also have tech that would allow them to even the odds between themselves and any potential mutants or other characters who have superpowers. And in doing so, they temporarily depower Manifold, who has sent Rogue and Gambit away so that they can warn the rest of Krakoa about what's going on. But this is the exact opposite of what Destiny told them to do. Destiny said protect Manifold, that Manifold is the key ingredient to the future of Krakoa as we know it. Now, initially, I thought maybe this might have some Sins of Sinister tie-ins in some way, which we can pretty much assume this takes place before Sins of Sinister. But the idea of Destiny needing someone who can teleport is very similar to some needs that she had during the Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants series, or the opening issue of it at least. But I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's just the fact that Manifold is easily, by and large, the most powerful teleporter on Krakoa. He's more powerful than Vanisher. He's more powerful than Nightcrawler. He's more powerful than Lina Chaney. He is more powerful than Blink. No other teleporter can operate on his level. The only other teleporter who can probably give him a run for his money is Gateway. And sometimes even that's debatable just based on some of the things that we've seen Manifold do recently. He literally teleported part of the sun to the Earth without even burning himself, and it's largely because he's not even really a teleporter. As he explains it himself, he doesn't teleport anywhere. He just is able to communicate with space. The portals and things that he opens up isn't him opening those portals, it's him asking the universe to do what he's asking it to do. No one else can command that level of power without wielding an Infinity Stone. And if you really want further proof that Manifold is one of the most powerful teleporters in all of Marvel Comics, period, the key ingredient here is the fact that he can teleport anywhere he wants to, even if he's never been there before. And there's not even an issue with him having a margin for error. He can teleport there perfectly. Even if it's under hazardous conditions, he would teleport somewhere that was the safest place possible for him to be. Krakoa definitely is going to need him during this whole Fall of X business is coming after Sins of Sinister. But here's the answer to the question that I posed at the beginning of this video. Why is Rogue and Gambit's actions in this setting up hostilities between Black Panther and Wakanda against Krakoa? The reason I say this is mostly just because of the cover that we saw in Rogue and Gambit #2. I always say this, covers lie. What you see on the cover isn't always exactly what's going to happen, but I can definitely say Black Panther is going to get involved in this, largely because while Eden Fezi is technically from Australia, he is also a card-carrying citizen of Wakanda, as well as being one of T'Challa's closest friends. So of course, the disappearance of Manifold is going to get T'Challa's attention, especially if he has any reason whatsoever to believe that Rogue and Gambit are somehow responsible for his disappearance. Not only that, but this is also going to drag the Avengers into it because, well, for one, it is made mention of several times that Manifold isn't just a card-carrying citizen of Krakoa, he is also an Avenger. And of course, if an Avenger goes missing, of course Avengers are going to come looking for him, even though technically Manifold hasn't been an Avenger for quite a while. So yeah, this is actually not just going to put Rogue and Gambit on a collision course with Black Panther Wakanda, but it's also going to put them on a collision course with the Avengers as well. And of course, I imagine the Avengers are probably looking into the disappearance of some of these supervillains as well, because it's not like they're just disappearing and never to be seen or heard from again. They're disappearing, and in some cases, like the case of Lady Deathstrike and Electro, specifically being broken out of prison and then being used to enact terrorist attacks. I've already seen some people in the discourse online saying that, oh, they're trying to use mutants as terrorists to try and make all mutants look bad. But here's where I'm gonna say that that logic isn't exactly sound, largely because only one of the characters who has been taken is a mutant. Crusher Creel, Electro, Deathstrike, Juggernaut, all of them are human. Vanisher is the only mutant. But at the end of it all, who is the one behind this? I don't know. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it's an entirely new face, but my money is largely on the auction house just because the MO is too similar to something that we've already seen. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything either, because it could just as easily have been Xeno or Orcus behind this as well. Even though technically, if you haven't been keeping up with X-Force number 38, Xeno just got dealt a major blow. So that's kind of why I'm doubting it's them, and this almost seems too obvious for Orcus. Another culprit behind this could even be X-Desk. We know that X-Desk has been acting a whole fool as of late on the Benjamin Percy side of things with both X-Force and Wolverine, so that wouldn't be far out of the realm of possibility either. But just the idea that Ruben Brosseau is trying to buy these various and sundry supervillains, that says a lot, especially considering I literally just mentioned this guy over on my video for the updates on Nightcrawler and Legion of X. So I do find it funny that after saying that, he is now showing up, and even though he's not doing a whole lot, there he is. But anyways, that's everything I wanted to really talk about with Rogue and Gambit number 1. This issue is actually a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. Not, any dig at, the creative team behind this. It was just that I never really have been the hugest fan of the Rogue and Gambit series by and large. While I like these characters, even in these characters' individual, solo series, my world is rarely ever lit on fire by a Rogue comic or a Gambit comic. I usually like these characters better when they're doing X-Men stuff. But so far, it's off to a pretty good start, and just the idea of having them acting on Destiny's behalf basically lets us know that whatever it is they're trying to prevent is something pretty big. Not to mention, I appreciate the respect that's being put on Manifold's name, citing him as being the one who is integral to the survival of Krakoa in the coming months. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, do the YouTube thing, like, share, comment, subscribe, and make sure you tap that notification bell so that way you don't miss out on any of the videos I put out. I know I've been harping on this a lot lately, but I'm really trying to hit 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube in 2023. And I can't do it without the help of you, Earth's mightiest subscribers of the present, as well as you, Earth's mightiest subscribers of the future. Until next time, let me know what you thought about Rogue and Gambit number 1. Keep it plus ultra, and sound off in the comments.